Good Monday morning, friends. Meteorologist Ashley Ruiz here with another update on Hurricane Sally. It is a Cat 1 hurricane, a strengthening Cat 1 hurricane. We have a special advisory in from the National Hurricane Center. Not something you want to hear. I just did a Facebook Live and a stream a little earlier, and I was talking about it still being a tropical storm. As soon as I got off Facebook, that's when we got the alert from the National Hurricane Center saying that it had intensified into a hurricane. So let's get right to it. Right now it has max sustained winds of 90 miles per hour moving to the west-northwest at 7 miles per hour with even higher wind gust. It's 130 miles east-southeast of the mouth of the Mississippi River, and the National Hurricane Center did not make changes to the forecast track. They made changes to the forecast intensity. It is forecast to be a Cat 2 hurricane, I would say, shortly. It already has max winds of 90 miles per hour, and then later today it is forecast to be a Cat 2 hurricane. Unfortunately, it does look like it's undergoing some rapid intensification. Just when I did the Facebook Live, not even an hour ago, it had max winds of 65. So now we're up to 90 with gusts up to 115 miles per hour. They are forecasting it to have winds near 105 miles per hour with higher wind gusts as it nears perhaps the mouth of the Mississippi River before taking a turn to the north. We'll have to see how quickly that turn to the north occurs. And they're still, again, this is 7 o'clock on Tuesday, still not even to the Mississippi Gulf Coast. So this is going to be a very prolonged event, unfortunately. Not something you ever want to hear when you're talking about the tropics. And they are forecasting winds of 105 miles per hour. I would not be surprised to see this to try to make the run toward a major hurricane, which would be a Cat 3 or higher. Maybe 115, that would make it closer to a Cat 3. So something we're going to have to watch very carefully. Hopefully it does not continue to strengthen beyond that. But again, something we're going to have to watch very, very carefully. The latest forecast brings it close to possibly Biloxi, but notice the cone of uncertainty still includes portions of far southeastern Louisiana. That includes the North Shore. That's Washington and St. Tammany Parish, all of the Mississippi Gulf Coast, and then into the southwest Alabama area and into portions of the Florida Panhandle. And it is forecast to bend back to the northeast, and then that would still bring impacts all the way from Alabama into Georgia, into the Carolinas, and of course the greatest impacts will be near the center and to the east. Before I get a little more in detail, I am going to share this to my own Facebook page. I do have a lot of Alabama and Florida viewers. That's where I worked previously from BR Proud in Baton Rouge. So I am going to share this, and be sure to share this with your friends. Maybe they're on vacation or you have friends that live in the Florida Panhandle, the Mississippi Gulf Coast, or even the Alabama Gulf Coast. So again, I just shared it, so bear with me just a minute. If you have any questions, just type below and I will try and answer them. And I'll have Jasmine monitor them and kind of feed me the latest. So let's get a look at what the hurricane hunters are currently finding. Again, this is pretty much live data. It looks as though one of their latest dropsondes recorded, again, that near 85 mile per hour winds. Surface pressure has dropped as well. So again, max sustained winds of 90 miles per hour. The tropical models, again, they're run several times a day, and they've been pretty consistent with near, again, the mouth of the river all the way to possibly the Alabama Gulf Coast. So if it wobbles a little more to the west, a little more to the east, that could really, really change impacts significantly. Here in the Baton Rouge Metro, it's still forecast to stay to the east of our area. Just how far east, though? If it moves, let me go back to the cone and show you. If it decides to stay more on the west side of the cone, our impacts will be a little greater, but still it is not forecast to take a direct hit toward Baton Rouge area. It is expected to make that turn to the north. Again, we're just going to have to watch that, and unfortunately it is a strengthening hurricane. Looking at the satellite and radar, you can really see the convection is starting to wrap around. That tells us it is a strengthening hurricane. And earlier this morning, it was very heavy on the right side. It still is pretty heavy, but it is starting to wrap back around. And the Florida Panhandle is dealing with some of those outer rain bands, which they'll have to watch for some heavy rain, gusty wind, and perhaps some spin-up tornadoes. Looking at some of the rain estimates. This is as of the early morning track, which I expect this to pretty much stay the same. Depends if it moves more to the west or a little more to the east. Our rainfall totals will be manageable. We could see some higher totals in some of these outer rain bands that I am expecting to move into the area, but the heaviest of rain will stay near and east of the center. That's where we're seeing some of these excessive rainfall totals. 10 to 20, 25 inches of rain could easily fall, especially because it's going to be a very slow moving system. Here's a look at the European model, forecasting again pretty low rainfall totals, manageable rainfall totals west of I-55, with the higher rainfall totals in the eastern portion of the state and then the Mississippi, Alabama, and Florida Gulf Coast. Same for the GFS, but it shows significantly less rain here in the Baton Rouge metro, being on the west side. The flash flood watch has been dropped for East Baton Rouge Parish, but still continues for Tangipahoa Parish, St. Helena, Livingston, Ascension, and then the Bayou parishes, and then again southeast Louisiana, and then including the North Shore. That includes all areas stretching to the Florida Panhandle. Another major issue that is going to be set with Sally, 4 to 6 feet of storm surge in our tidal lakes. That's Lake Maurepas, that's Lake Pontchartrain as well. And so even if we don't see some heavy rain, we're still going to have those persistent winds, which the water will pile on. So that is why 4 to 6 feet, that is pretty substantial for our tidal lakes. We'll have to see how it unfolds. With 7 to 11 feet, this green color is a coastal flood advisory. That includes the Florida Panhandle, Pensacola Bay, Santa Rosa Sound, Choctawhatchee Bay, Mobile Bay around 4 to 6 feet, 5 to 8 basically, near, I would say, east of Biloxi to the Mississippi, Alabama state line. And so that is some pretty substantial storm surge, 7 to 11 feet just west of Biloxi as well. So we'll have, again, this is going to be one of the main concerns. Heavy rain, flooding rain, and then storm surge for where it does eventually push ashore. Also some storm force winds, whether that is hurricane force, that's going to be closer to where the center is, and then to the east of that center as well. But our areas are still under hurricane warnings if it does begin to shift a little more back to the west, and some of these coastal zones could see some hurricane force winds, wind gust. As for the tropical storm warning, that includes East Baton Rouge Parish. We could see tropical storm force wind gust. I'm not completely ruling that out, which the models are showing potentially some tropical storm force wind gusts. There's 39 in Baton Rouge. That would be tomorrow afternoon. And then you see some tropical storm force winds even in far southeastern Louisiana. Let's show you, this is the RPM model. This is our in-house model, and it's been pretty consistent with a more easterly track, but it does paint a good picture of some of these outer rain bands that will likely move into our area this afternoon, evening, and those could produce some heavy rain. Of course, you can get several inches of rain, and then some gusty wind as well. So again, something we're going to have to watch. This particular model run brings it very close to the Mississippi-Alabama state line, and that's Tuesday afternoon. So this one has it kind of speeding up a little bit, but notice to the east and northeast, that's southwest Alabama and northwest Florida getting rocked by some heavy rain, some wind, perhaps some spin-up tornadoes, storm surge as well. And then it has it taking that turn to the northeast a little sooner rather than later. That would really put southwest Alabama and northwest Florida getting the brunt of it. So again, at this point we're going to have to nowcast. Essentially what that means is we're going to have to watch the trends. Does it wobble more west? Does it wobble more east? Will it continue to intensify? That is expected. Hopefully not anything stronger than if it were to intensify into a Cat 3, but that cannot be completely ruled out. As for our potential impacts, we could start to feel, it's already breezy outside, could see some gusty winds later tonight, but more so into Tuesday. we could see sustained winds 15 to 25 miles per hour with gusts of 25 or greater. Now this is on the current path. If it tracks more east, our winds will have a breeze with some gusty winds from time to time perhaps, but our rainfall totals will be significantly less. And I was being generous with some of these amounts. Hence the reason why we were dropped from the flash flood watch. We're not anticipating any widespread flooding here, but our eastern parishes are still under that flash flood watch for potentially more than 2 inches of rainfall in a short amount of time. And where I say south and east of Baton Rouge, I mean of the viewing area. Obviously eastern Louisiana, southeastern Louisiana, the coast, they will see significantly greater impacts, higher rainfall totals than here inland in the Baton Rouge metro. Strongest winds are going to be near and east of the center. Environment is unfavorable for our area being on the west side of the storm for tornadoes. However, some of these outer rain bands can't rule out tropical funnels. We'll have to watch for that. But the east side will likely get some spin-up tornadoes. That is not uncommon when it comes to tropical systems. As for wind speeds right now, 10 to 15 miles per hour. We've had some gusts, but nothing substantial. I'm sure these numbers will go up a little later tonight. I would bring those lawn furniture items inside. If you have Halloween decorations like I do, that will be something you want to bring in, and just make preparations. Make sure as long as it doesn't move more to the west. I have not updated this. The Hurricane Center reissued this new product, but it basically is the most likely time of tropical storm force winds. Showing anywhere between 40 and maybe 50% here in the Baton Rouge metro. Obviously where you have the reds and especially the purples, that indicates a higher probability of seeing some tropical storm force wind gusts, winds and wind gusts. The timing would likely be more so tomorrow, but still we could get some of those gusty winds within some of these feeder bands. Looking at the HRRR model, this is the high resolution model. This is showing just to kind of illustrate the potential for some of these outer rain bands. Been pretty consistent, showing some outer rain bands moving in this afternoon or this evening. Again, you could see some gusty winds, some downpours. You could easily see several inches of rain, but then after that, it really just does not show much. I'm not discounting that we could not see some more rain tomorrow. I still think we could, but it's not going to unless it were to come a little closer to the west, our rain chances wouldn't be all too significant. Also, in the tropics, I know this is going to look scary and look confusing. Jasmine had to color code how many systems we have in the Atlantic right now. We have four named storms. We have Tropical Storm Teddy, Tropical Storm Vicky, Hurricane Paulette, and Tropical Depression Renee. Here's a look at Teddy and Vicky's tracks. Teddy is forecast to become a major hurricane down the road. However, it does not appear as though it will directly impact the United States down the road, but that could change, but it could impact Bermuda. Vicky may not even live very long. Also, not just that, we have a wave that is set to emerge off the coast of Africa in the coming days, and that has a medium chance for formation. Now, this will be one we have to watch down the road. Models have been hinting perhaps it makes it this far to the west. I'm saying this far west, as in the Caribbean and Gulf of Mexico. That is way down the road. Plenty of time to watch that one. We need to watch Sally. That is our main concern, because Sally, not liking what I'm seeing on the satellite imagery. Jasmine, do we have any questions so far?
Yes, we do have questions.
Okay, I'll try and answer some of your questions. Let me show the track just for the folks that are just tuning in. Let me go through some of these. Chris, this is the 16-year anniversary of Hurricane Ivan. A lot of folks are stressed out, and I understand that, especially seeing some of these trends. Pensacola, I would plan, if you're in Mississippi, Alabama, Northwest Florida, even far southeastern Louisiana, you need to finalize your preparations today. If you have friends in the Mississippi Gulf Coast, maybe it may make landfall near Biloxi, somewhere along the Mississippi Gulf Coast, potentially as a strengthening Cat 2, maybe a Cat 3. I would not be surprised about that whatsoever. Preparations need to be finalized this morning. Oh, well, we're 3 minutes away from the afternoon. Norma Jean is asking, do we need to worry here in Baton Rouge? With this current forecast track, our impacts will be on the lower side of things. I don't think it will be completely zero. However, let's see, I'll answer that in a minute. Thank y'all for all the questions. Y'all have great questions. As of this current track, we'll have another track out for you at 4 o'clock, maybe sooner. We'll have to see what the National Hurricane Center says and does. But with this current track, our impacts, let me go back to the impacts graphic. Again, this is the Baton Rouge Metro. We have a lot of folks joining from all the way from Louisiana all the way to Florida. So keep that in mind. Potential impacts here, rainfall totals are going to vary. It all depends. If you get caught under a rain band, that we could see a little later, but being on the west side of the storm, especially well to the west of it, our impacts would be on the lower side. But I still think we're still going to see storm surge. Even if we don't get any heavy rain or tropical storm winds or hurricane winds on the lakes, we're still going to see that water piling on to our Lake Maurepas, Lake Pontchartrain. Already seeing some pretty strong winds and waves on Lake Pontchartrain, which is normal, but that is going to cause some flooding. If you have a house that surrounds the lakes, tidal lakes, or even close to our area rivers, something we're going to have to watch. We're going to have to monitor the river flooding, but as of now, we're not too majorly concerned about that. But given that some time is running out for storm preparations, especially for folks along the Mississippi, Alabama, and Northwest Florida Gulf Coast, those need to be rushed to completion. Let's see, what was the other?
You're still streaming.
Am I not still streaming?
I don't know, check.
I will try and check. We've had some issues with the stream a little earlier, and so I'm going to check into this a little more. I do not think nope, I am not streaming on Facebook. I am on the live stream, I believe. Hopefully someone in the back can answer that for me. But the Baton Rouge area impacts as of right now, this latest track, are going to be on the lower side of things. But keep in mind, southeast Louisiana is not out of the clear by any means because we have to wait for that north turn. It's still moving to the west-northwest. So yes, it does appear as though we were kicked off the Facebook streams. So, okay, they're checking the website for me in the back. So if you are joining us on the stream, you can reach out to me on Facebook, Twitter, any of that, or you can email me at aruiz@brproud.com if you have any questions, comments, concerns, and I'm constantly updating on Twitter. I'm good on the website, just got that clear. So if you are joining us again, I will wrap things up for you guys. Basically, the latest from the National Hurricane Center, it is undergoing some rapid intensification. Unfortunately, it went from 65-mile-per-hour winds to 90-mile-per-hour winds. Forecast to strengthen some more, possibly making landfall as a Cat 2, strong Cat 2. Would not completely rule out a major hurricane at this point before it makes landfall, and that's going to take a while. Current landfall is projected maybe clipping the mouth of the Mississippi River or briefly making landfall there tomorrow morning before possibly taking aim toward the Mississippi Gulf Coast or Alabama Gulf Coast. That would occur sometime Tuesday night and into early Wednesday. So something we're watching. Things are changing, but the northern Gulf Coast does need to prepare for some heavy rain, especially if you're on the east side of the track. Along and east of the track, strong winds, heavy rain, storm surge, flooding rains, and so storm preparations do need to be finalized today. Again, Baton Rouge Metro, we could see some gusty winds, some outer rain bands. That's on this current track. Baton Rouge Metro no longer under the flood watch, the flash flood watch, but that's not going to say that we can't get several inches of rain in a short amount of time. But again, we'll have more updates for you. Chief Meteorologist Jesse Gunkel will be in at 4 o'clock for the latest track in the advisory. We may have another update from the National Hurricane Center if it warrants it. We usually get an update on that on 1 o'clock, so we'll have to see. But our website's going to be updated, constantly updated at brproud.com, and you can go ahead and download our free BR Proud app to get push notifications, alerts, all of that, and then the latest on Hurricane Sally. So we're going to wrap things up. Again, if you have any questions, reach out to me, Facebook, Twitter, just search Ashley Ruiz WX. You can follow the team as well, meteorologist Jasmine Lomax, Chief Meteorologist Jesse Gunkel as well, and we'll be here with you guys all along the way. But again, current track keeps Baton Rouge on the west side of it. So if that changes, we will be sure to let you guys know. Y'all take care, stay weather aware, and have a great day.